Okay, so what I'm going to show today is the start of how to make our ceramic animal pots. All right, so if you missed the first week of this project, no worries, just follow along with this video and we will get started. So the first step is to make the actual pot. I just got a couple of reference photos. I'm going to be making a pig, so I always like to have a couple of photos with me to see. So essentially what we'll be building today is the pot or the body. So with the tools that you guys have gotten from me, you're going to get out your block of clay, your big bag of clay, undo the twist tie, and pull the clay down. Or pull the bag down, sorry. You're going to get your toolkit out of your little baggie and get your wire cutter out. That's this. Okay, what you're gonna do is kind of grip the handles, and then you're gonna slice through the clay a little bit over an inch, and you're gonna pull it all the way through. So all the way through to the other side. So I'm holding it with one hand, the wire's right here, and you're just gonna pull it through, and then you're gonna have that nice cut block. All right, I'm gonna get the clay off of this, and I'm gonna cut this block in half now. And then I'm gonna pull it through. I'm gonna put part of it back in here, and then again, I only need half of this, so I'm gonna cut it one more time. And I'm gonna take my one block and put the other block in here. Gonna add water. Make sure you're hydrating your clay every time you open it, so that way it stays wet. This is your whole grade in a bag right here, so you wanna make sure that you're taking care of it and that it's not drying out. All right, set that aside. All right, we're gonna get set up for clay now, how you would normally do it for our new process at home. So you're gonna get your newspaper out, open it up fully, and lay it out flat. This is essentially gonna be your placemat, this whole area right here. This is gonna catch any clay crumbs that you may have falling off. And then you guys have a piece of canvas board. That's what you're gonna grab. I actually like flipping it upside down and working on it this way because the canvas dries out your clay, so I like to have it on the other side. And then you're gonna get a piece of this shiny ad paper. You should have like 3 or 4 pieces in your bag. And what you're gonna do is just place that directly on top of your board. And then your clay block goes there. So this is how you're gonna get set up for clay almost every single day. Newspaper down to catch any crumbs that may fall off. Your project board, a piece of that shiny newspaper so that your clay doesn't get dried out or stuck to the board. And then your clay. All right, first step we're gonna do is to make a pinch pot. So hopefully you guys all remember how to do that. The first step I like to do is to kind of hit this and get it into like a more of a cube shape than the rectangle. So I'm gonna just hit it a little bit. So I'm rotating it and hitting it. So now it's in a cube form and not so much of a rectangle, and it's a little bit loosened up now. So anytime I start off with a cube, I like to kind of just push in the edges. So this little cube has all these edges around it where all the corners connect. I just like to take my thumb and push in on those to try and round it out. So this is just the start of making it into a ball. That's our first step, is to get our clay into a ball shape. I like to start by pushing these in just so I round it out a little bit. So I'm just taking my thumb and pushing in on all the edges that there are, trying to round it out and get rid of those harsh lines. So I'm just using my thumb here. So that's what I have now. It's more of a rounder cube. It's still a cube, which is fine. And then the next step that I do is just take the palm of my hand and start hitting it. I'm just trying to round it out now. We're just trying to get it into a ball. And then I kind of like to pass it around in my hands, trying to push it together and make a ball shape. You can even do this, round it out in your hands. How you get it into a ball shape doesn't really matter. Find what's best for you. You can even roll it a little bit. Rolling, I find, helps a lot. You can roll it forward, turn it, roll it again, turn it, roll it again, or roll in little circles. But I kind of use a combination of all of these things to try and get it round. Okay, so it does not have to be a perfect ball, but this is my round shape now. And I don't know if you guys have this, but I always have this little crease where the corners did come together. That's where I'm actually gonna put the hole for my pot. So make sure you have some water. I'm just gonna take the water out of this spray bottle and pour it in my cup. But always make sure you have water because it's clay and it's gonna need to be hydrated. So I just have a little bit in there. I'm just gonna stick my thumb in it. And the next step is to start opening up our pot. So I'm gonna stick my thumb directly in the center and push in. You're gonna get some resistance from the clay. That's fine, you just gotta push a little bit harder. I'm just trying to push. You don't wanna go all the way through, so don't just like use all of your strength and go all the way through to the other end because then your clay is ruined. And you guys only have enough clay to get through the projects I have planned, so you don't wanna just kinda like keep messing up and starting over because you're gonna run out of clay. All right, so I feel like it's almost at the end. It's probably a little bit past halfway, like right here, which is good. I don't want it to go any deeper than that. And that's what you have. You have a little thumb hole to start off with. All right, so if you remember how to make a pinch pot, your next step is to start pinching. So this is the motion that you're gonna do around the whole thing. I'm gonna start off really gentle, okay? You don't wanna like pinch really, really hard and then push it all the way through and be too thin that you can't use it. So I'm just gonna do some little gentle pinches. I'm probably not even gonna like try to connect my fingers all the way. So I'm just gonna do these little teeny tiny gentle pushes all the way around. I'm gonna get my hand wet and I'm gonna stick my thumb in and then I'm gonna use my outside hands here or fingers here and start gently pushing. I'm using this hand here to rotate. So I'm pinching and I'm rotating. I'm pinching and I'm rotating. And this part is gonna take a little bit. And that's fine, but it'll slowly start to open up. And it's gonna start to crack. You're shaping it a lot, that's fine. As long as it doesn't crack all the way through or down the center, you're gonna be okay. We can fix those cracks. And then now I'm starting to work on the upper part. At first my hand was all the way in the bottom right here, and I started to open it up so that I moved my hands up here, and now I'm pinching like the rim. And then you are slowly starting to get a pot shape. So one thing that's really important with pinch pots is that you tend to be really bottom heavy here. So it's important to get all the way down here and start to open it up and widen it so that way this clay, where the wall meets the base, isn't so thick. This is generally the thickest part of these projects here, and this is generally where they will explode in the kiln. So make sure that this part right here is not very thick. You can kind of feel it, like mine's really bottom heavy right now. I can feel all that weight on the bottom right here. So I'm gonna take some time to get this part right here nice and smooth or opened up. I'm gonna get my hands a little bit wet, and I'm actually gonna push a little bit more. See, the reason I like to have this here is because it's easier to turn it when it's on top of the shiny paper. And I'm just pinching again. But if you guys want a coil build, if you want a slab build, however you build, that is totally fine for an advanced project. Now I'm gonna try and get both of my hands in there and really shape it the way that I want. So I'm just trying to open up this bottom part so it's not so heavy. All right, that's the first step. Obviously, this is a very wonky looking pinch pot. I don't want you guys to have to watch me blend and smooth this out for the next 10 minutes. So that's your next step. Once you get your pinch pot made and you're good with the width everywhere around, what you're gonna do next is then get your sponge and you're gonna start smoothing all these cracks away. Mine's really, really cracky and that's fine. As long as it's not like cracking down the middle all the way through, it's gonna be repairable. So once you get your pot shape done, your next step is just to make this look really pretty. So get your sponge, dip it in some water, and start smoothing it. I also like to just really use my hand. So if you'd rather use your hand and smooth, that's totally fine too. You're just trying to get rid of all these cracks that just happen from manipulating the clay. All right, that's your next step.